The next step to working on our hump and getting better grass is we're going to do a little overseeding. That's what we're going to do today. We're doing aeration with this aeravator and overseeding. Let's get started. First thing I'll say is this aeravator is poking holes like mad. Yeah, it's not having any trouble, but it's not an apples to apples test with our prior tractor aerator, core aerator video, because we've had a rain. We had 3/10 of an inch of a rain yesterday, and so this soil is much more receptive to aeration today, no question. Having said that, I've always loved the aeravator. The action is just amazing. Yeah, it doesn't pull out cores, and when you first look at it, you might think, well, this is just going to cause compaction. But all that vibration is actually working very well, I think, to open the soil a little bit. And so I've always been impressed with it. Yeah, it's expensive. They do make one for tractors, not just for binning. I don't have one. GCI Turf has one. Yeah, check it out on his channel.
There's an eccentric shaft that runs the length of the aeravator, and it's being spun by the tractor. When I say eccentric, I mean that the shaft is not a perfect cylinder. It's offset a little bit, and that forces these aeravator heads to actually vibrate. The aeration heads are loose on the shaft, so they spin or turn only at ground speed, but that vibration has quite an impact on the soil. In some ways, I think I tried these two aerators on the wrong days. The vibrating action of this aeravator works really well when it's a bit drier. It dislodges the soil a little bit, kind of a shattering effect. When it's wet, it just looks like, well, it's poking holes. The core aerator or plugger doesn't do much when it's really dry. It does a better job when it's a little bit wet. It's much easier for it to pull a plug. Of course, this one has the added feature of overseeding, and that was really our primary interest today. When it comes to overseeding an existing yard, this aeravator is absolutely fantastic. If you remember, about 1.5 years ago, Rex killed all of his yard. We're not sure if he mixed his chemicals wrong or if he just applied at a bad time, but he killed it dead. Rather than tilling up his whole yard, I suggested that he use the aeravator seeder here and just go over the top of it. That dead sod served as sort of a straw layer to hold in the moisture. Well, here's what it looks like 1 year later. Absolutely amazing, at least in my opinion. He's still struggling with this old driveway a little bit, but wow, the rest of it just looks great.
I'm overseeding it because I think we need a little here, but this isn't. Some of this area out here really doesn't have much grass. It does have some, so there's some hope that we can get it restored this spring. We've got a few more steps to the process here. We do need to get soil samples and figure out exactly where our soil is. A lot of you have talked about organic matter, getting some compost put in here. Well, we'll have to wait on Doug's compost to make better compost. It's still pretty good wood chips at this point, not so much compost. Meanwhile, if we can just get a cover of grass, it'll start making its own organic material, and we'll be home free. Over here, we've got really good grass. It's not perfect. I can still see a few areas where it's missing, but it's really good. It'll be fine. You know, there won't be any issue there. It seems that in our soil type, if we can once get a good sod covering, it'll take care of itself from that. Of course, we do have to add nitrogen. Always have to add nitrogen. And we need to keep the weeds down.
Christy's got some extra good camera angles here over the next few moments. If you haven't done so, this would be a great time to press that like button. I think she's earned it with some of these shots.
Next step's going to be herbicide. We've got to kill some of these dandelions. I just can't stand looking at the dandelions, and they spread way out, and they harm the grass in that way. Then the clover is getting pretty bad here. Of course, there's always a couple of you on my case about, I got to keep clover. Well, I don't want clover in my yard. If you want it in yours, that's fine. I don't want it in mine. So we'll get that killed. And then that'll give the grass a better chance. I'm very happy with what's going on around the pond, at least from the grass standpoint. It looks, well, almost green at this stage. I don't know if you can tell it from this view, but maybe we can show you some views here where you can see that the grass is getting a really good start. There is some of it that's still holding water. Not perfect on that yet, but we'll work on that over time. That's just the way it's going to be. I can't get that perfect in one shot, especially how swampy it is around here. But I'm pleased to this stage. I love seeing the grass in the spring when it's wet, dark green, lush grass. You'll notice I'm running the duals today on Vinny. Well, I just left them on, actually. We've been leaving them on for mowing. We've got that 95-inch mower, so it more than covers the width of the duals. And during this early spring, the duals they're great to have on the tractor. Distribute that weight, and you don't have near as much down pressure. It's just fabulous. Doesn't do any damage at all to the grass that way.
Hey, don't forget about the reverse auction of compact and subcompact John Deere tractors. These tractors are essentially new, being sold as used. They still have about 1.5 years of the original 2-year warranty, and they've never left the dealer's lot. The prices are dropped every 12 hours until somebody pulls the trigger to buy it. Free rim guard is included. Financing is available, not at 0%, but the prices are low enough that it more than makes up for the interest you'll have to pay. cloudstore.co/auction.
Well, Christy, I'm a lot more optimistic this year than I was last year at this time when we were trying to seed it for the second time.
Second time. This is the third time, I guess.
Yeah, but the second time we got a lot of grass. It was tough because we were pretty late in the spring actually getting it seeded last year, so that hump being not totally filled in is not a surprise to me. And I think the watering that we did out of the pond helped kind of save it. We were going to totally lose it, I think, last fall. But that's good, and I think now we've got a good chance. It's still cool. If we get some more of these spring rains along before it gets hot, I think we can get this filled in. It's kind of unique here that once we get a grass cover, it seems to do fine.
And it's supposed to rain the next couple of days, hopefully, and then maybe be a little bit warmer than it is today. That would help.
Yeah, but not too hot because
Right.
it starting grass, we need it not to dry out right there on top really quick. Don't think we'll have too much problem here. Think the pond looks great.
Yeah.
I'm still really hopeful for it. So hopefully we'll have a lawn good enough that we can invite Pete from GCI Turf at some point.
Ooh, that's going to take a while, maybe.
Well, the point is right now it's so bad that I'd be embarrassed to have him here.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed.
If we could get it to the point where he could say, here's how you improve your lawn, but when it's bare.
Yeah, he's just going to scold you. But I don't think we can grow Bermuda here, which is what he likes in North Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on
Tractor Time with Tim.
Now that you have purified yourselves by obeying the truth, so that you have sincere love for each other, love one another deeply, from the heart. For you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and enduring Word of God.
It's hard for us to get a project like this, a big project, done. It's fascinating to see Christy duck as the drone flew right over her head there. Okay, Christy, we got to have one of these. I wasn't even going to try it. I just had decided I didn't have time. Wasn't even going to try it.